Hey everybody, Corey here, and I'm going to be doing a video today about Enchroma Glasses. You may have seen some viral videos about them, you may have heard about them, but I figure if you're watching this, you've probably done a bit of a search and maybe you're interested in looking into them for yourself or a loved one. And there's a lot of disparity between what you're seeing online with these viral videos and what you're reading in forums with people's real experiences. I was fortunate enough to get a hold of some of the glasses free of charge, loaned from a friend. So I feel like I don't have any vested interest in them other than a mild curiosity. I've thought about getting them before. I sort of decided maybe it wasn't in my best interests. So this is going to be a pretty unbiased opinion. I've also done a lot of thinking about what they do, what to expect in reality and how they work. And I'm going to be putting that out there. This video is a little bit weird because it started off being pretty typical. I was going to make a Facebook video for some friends who are aware of my color blindness and have seen the videos. And I constantly get tagged with those viral videos. And so I was just going to put it out there just to give them that experience of, me trying them for the first time. So what you're going to see is me in the studio talking about my expectations. Then it's going to move into, me trying them, then a little bit more about my reaction further down the track. And I'll give you a bit of a summary at the end with some ideas I've had about how they work and maybe what to look for and what to expect when you finally get your hands on some. So if this seems a little disjointed, it's because it started off being one video and it turned into another. So stick with it. You'll see pretty much, I assume, what you want to see. So without further ado, here's me. Okay, so this is probably somewhat of an emotional one for me. Some of you who know me on Facebook and work and things like that know that I'm colorblind. And it's always been a struggle for me being someone who's quite artistic and having to constantly battle with my demons of not understanding color the way other people do. It's been a journey. And throughout the last few years of that journey, almost every month I get tagged in some video of somebody trying these colorblind glasses, these Enchroma glasses that you've been seeing viral videos of for several years. And they're interesting. They're an interesting technology. A lot of people misinterpret what they do. They don't cure color blindness. When you use them, you won't be able to pass a colorblind test. But what they do provide is an ability to essentially differentiate colors better. And the way that they do that is through subtraction. They're actually taking away parts of the visual spectrum that colorblind people's visual systems tend to confuse, and by removing them, it clarifies every other part of the spectrum. However, there's a caveat. The reports that I read in forums and things like that versus the viral videos don't tend to line up in most cases. You do read the occasional account of someone going, wow, my life was changed when I put the glasses on. But for the majority of people, it's sort of met with a little bit of disappointment. Because they have these elevated expectations. And I think, that's probably the thing that's kept me from spending the money to actually try them out in the first place. Now, they're very expensive, particularly if you live in Australia, because one, there's not any convenient local retailers. And we have to pay, obviously, the inflated dollar price and also import fees and all that sort of stuff. And so essentially what it boils down to is a pair of Enchroma glasses can cost upwards of $500 here. And so for me, being a product that's not entirely, 100% expected to work, it's too much of a gamble. And they do, to Enchroma's credit, they offer, I think it's a 60-day trial where you can send them back if you find that they're not working for you. But it's not so much of an option here, or even if it is, it's overly complicated. And I didn't want to mess with it. It just seemed like it was too hard. And at the end of the day, I'm getting by, and the other thing that annoyed me was the fact that it won't fix me. I'm still not going to be able to see the way the rest of normal society sees things. It'll just change my perceptions subtly. Even if it worked brilliantly, I'm still not seeing things the way I'm supposed to. So is it worth it? And that's the quandary that I've been in. Now, I posted something recently on Facebook about, I thought I'd found a cheap way of getting them, and I was about to go all in on it, but then I found out it wasn't quite the case because the glasses that were available were lenses that aren't applicable to my variety of color blindness. Now, thankfully, I get by with a little help from my friends, and a good friend of mine, Ben Stutman, came through. He's a lovely guy to begin with, because the reason he has access to these glasses to loan to me is because he bought some for his apprentice who's colorblind. Just out of curiosity, and I guess being a good all-around guy, he thought it'd be fun to buy these glasses, because obviously he'd seen the viral videos and things. Now, I should point out, in speaking with Ben, his apprentice feels like the glasses were a failure for him. He doesn't feel like they do anything, and that seems to be in line with a lot of accounts I'm seeing online or reading about online, where people have put the glasses on and gone, okay, nothing seems different. And based on like the literature and stuff that comes with the glasses and things like that, that's actually not unusual. Or Enchroma recommends that you use the glasses for over the course of a week for at least 10 hours so that your visual system can adjust to the difference. Now, I actually tried these on. This is the Enchroma glasses right here. I actually tried them on last night, which I knew would not work because these are outdoor glasses and I was inside. These really are designed to be used in broad daylight, high sunshine levels, with in a space with an abundant amount of color to really see the effect. And so I knew putting them on last night and looking at some computer screens and stuff wouldn't work. Now, the initial reaction I had when I put them on is it seems to put like a red glaze over everything, like a rosy sort of thing. And the way I understand it from reading in forums and stuff is that eventually that goes away. You see it initially, and then eventually your brain starts to reinterpret what it's seeing, and it sort of subtracts that redness, the overly red sort of field, and that falls into the background, and it really just serves to highlight the red. The other thing that's interesting is you can't expect that you put these on after 43 years of seeing colors a certain way and my mind interpreting those colors a certain way. You can't expect it to just snap over to like suddenly high definition color and all of a sudden you understand how all this stuff works, because I've never seen purple the way it's supposed to be seen. I've never seen, like most things, according to people I've shown my color blindness through an app. There's an app you can sort of demonstrate how you see. Most people see what I see as most colors shifted towards yellow. And even though, I might be able to discern greens and browns and things like that. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not even 100% sure the difference between green and brown. Or blues and purples. It seems like it's, there's a specific way that my mind interprets it. And even if they suddenly fixed my eyes, like with genetic science or some sort of sorcery, I don't know that immediately my brain would understand what I was looking at anyway. And I don't know that I'd be able to look at it and go, oh shit, that's what purple is. That's what I expected it to look like my whole life. Possibly, but I don't think so. And I think that's part of the challenge with these glasses, is that you need to wear them for a period of time so that your visual system can become accustomed to it, but also your brain can start to interpret things that normally it would gloss over. Because the way I describe it to people is, because my vision is limited, my color vision, I tend to not focus on the way things are colored, because I've never trusted my color vision. And so I tend to not lean on it as much in the details. A lot of people find color blindness interesting, and they think it's interesting how like learning when I show people what I see, they're quite surprised, and they particularly interested in how they look. So if I take a photo of them and run it through my colorblind filter and show them what they look like, they're usually very disappointed because apparently I see people as looking very unhealthy and sick. Look, if you've hung around this long, the crux of this video is I haven't tried these yet. I'm actually a little apprehensive about putting them on and going outside. It's daytime outside now. But I figured I don't know how long I have these for. I think roughly the weekend. So I don't know if it's a long enough time to give a pure assessment of it, but I will aim to wear them every time I'm outside in the environment that they're supposed to be worn in. And, I'll probably do a follow-up video to sort of, for as long as I've got these, I'll at least try to give them a good chance and see if I notice anything at all. I've watched some videos similar to this where people have tried them for 30 days and they give their impressions. And I feel like my initial reaction is going to be roughly the same as theirs. And that is, I put them on and there's no real shock value. It's basically like, okay, it looks like I'm just wearing sunglasses. Nothing's really jumping out at me. I can't spot which of the balloons as blue or purple or whatever. But I'll give them a red hot go, and I'll see that, say in a few days, if I feel like at least there's some changes happening. Let's see how this goes. So I'm going to try out these Enchroma glasses. This isn't initially what I thought would be the best place to try it, because I look around my backyard and there's not a lot of vibrant color. And then I thought, how do I know that? So I thought, why not just try them out here first? And as I said in the earlier video, I think that this is going to be one of those situations where I don't know that I'm going to put the glasses on and have some sort of a religious experience. But I'll try them, and I'll leave them on for about 10 minutes, and I'll see if there's any changes. No time like the present, right? So they say in the literature not to switch between, let your eyes adjust and fully interpret what you're seeing. And I think I said in the last video that when I tried them on at nighttime in a situation I knew probably wouldn't work, there was a red cast across everything, like looking through cellophane, and that's essentially what I'm seeing now. I don't see anything, I'm not looking at anything and going, oh my God, I've never seen anything look like that before. The desire to switch and see, is that how I normally see it? Because you don't remember. Think about the last thing you looked at and think, do I remember exactly what color that was when I looked at it 10 minutes ago? There seems to be more contrast, but I think that's more to do with the fact that I've got sunglasses on. So my first impression is I'm not going, the world's changed and everything looks different, but there is that red hue. It seems a little bit more subtle out here in the daytime, and I feel like it's probably going to dissipate into the background quicker out here in the sunshine. Yeah, I mean, my house, which is a red brick house, it certainly looks redder. But again, I don't know if that's an artifact of just the fact that I'm wearing sunglasses or not, with a tint on them. Yeah, but I mean, I can feel like that redness is starting to shift into the background, but I think it'll probably take 10 or 15 minutes before my brain stops seeing it. Yeah, that's the initial reaction. Take from that what you will. I should be somewhere where there's more purples, but then again, I could be looking at purples and not even know. So yeah, okay, I'll check in later. Okay, I think this deserves an update. I just went for a drive in my car to have a look around and see if I could spot anything that was, odd colors and things like that. And so I took a drive around the botanical gardens, but before I even got there, this is going to sound so stupid, I saw a green traffic light for the first time in my life. It was so amazing because I just glanced over at the light and I'm like, oh, that's right. People say that the traffic lights look green. And so I waited because it was red, and I waited and it switched to green. And I'm like, what is that? It's a whole other thing. Because a lot of people who are colorblind see the green light in traffic lights as essentially white. Because I guess the green light frequency just doesn't get registered in our eyes. So we see it almost like a spotlight, just a white light. And then it switched to orange, and I'm like, oh my God, that's totally different too. Because to me, the traffic lights go dark red, lesser red, and then white. And so I always know which is the right light, because the bottom light is the bright one and it's white, and that's what that means go. But now I can see a distinct difference between the green light and the orange light. Looks orange. I can literally see the difference. I mean, I can always see the tonal difference, but now I can see it as the color orange, which is insane. Excuse my hay fever. And the other thing I've noticed too is I still don't have the confidence to be able to differentiate between whether something's blue or purple. And it's even a little bit more difficult too, because I was just looking at a blue car. It was like a rich blue, and it seemed, well, I don't know, maybe it was purple, but it seemed like it could probably be like a rich purple color, but I don't know, because there's still the red cast on the lenses. And if you put a red filter over a blue, you get purple. And while I'm not noticing that red filter anymore, I know that it's there. And so I'm wondering if that alters the blues to be less discernible, which is interesting. But one thing I do notice is, even though at this point I still can't accurately determine a green from a brown or anything like that, one thing's for sure, the things that are bright colors are standing out in the environment more. So like a street sign, no matter what color it is, if it's a contrasting color, I'll immediately notice it. And while I may not be able to look at it and go, well, that sign's blue or purple or green or brown or whatever, because I honestly don't know, now that I really think about it, I don't know what brown is. I don't know. I've never accurately been able to look at a color and go, that's definitively green or that's definitively brown. And even some darker sort of dirty yellows are confusing. But I look around my garden here, over there, and I can see, a wider array of contrast between the colors, but the pops of color don't fall into the background as much. I can't accurately look at them and say, well, that's a specific color, but I can certainly notice them more. And that's interesting. I mean, I've only been wearing the glasses now for probably an hour at most, and I'm already seeing differences, It's subtle, but it's definitive. So, yeah. All right, so that was my experience in a nutshell, and it's been a few days, and I've thought a lot about how things work, and I just wanted to cover a couple of things. And fundamentally, the main one is why I feel like some people are putting on the glasses and feeling like they don't work, or they're having an underwhelming experience. What I noticed was that certain things that are pops of color in the environment were all of a sudden popping where they've never before. Things were catching my attention. And in situations where I don't feel like I was seeing a vast difference with what was coming in through the glasses, I was noticing things like suddenly, oh my God, the flowers on that thing will pop dramatically, or that yellow sign, the fluoro yellow emergency sort of sign thing was suddenly way more dramatic and way more obvious in my field of view. It was dragging my attention the way that these things are supposed to. And I've worked out what it is. I was having some experiences where I was seeing fluoro yellows and I was going, man, that's really standing out. And so I would take the glasses down and I would look at them with my natural eyes, and I would notice the yellow doesn't look any different. Why is it that when I put the glasses on, suddenly, bam, they're popping out like crazy? And I worked out what it is. It's because oftentimes when I use my colorblind app, it's called CVS, or Color Vision Simulator, which is handy if you're colorblind. Get it. It shows people how things look through your eyes, and it helps you explain colorblindness dramatically easier to people. So I often show how my vision works to people through this app, and they'll always tell me the same thing. They go, man, all of your colors shift towards yellow. You see a sea of yellows. And when I'm looking at the picture, I'm seeing what I interpret to be greens and browns and oranges. They're seeing a yellow cast across all of these colors. And of course, we can't determine that because we see things the way that we see things. So what I realized is happening with the glasses is these oranges and greens and browns that you see in a natural environment behind a sign, like trees and grass and everything like that, that yellow hue shift is being tamped down so that now the yellow can stand by itself. So the yellow fluoro sign is popping out from the background like crazy because not everything in the shot is yellow now. And it makes perfect sense. And that's why when I was looking at the sign and then I took the glasses off, I was seeing the same shade of yellow. Yellow doesn't change. The greens, the browns, and the oranges behind it in the natural environment suddenly are shifted to where they're supposed to be. And this brings me to my next point about why people sometimes are putting on the glasses and not having that visceral reaction, is because there's an expression in painting that is value being the lightness or darkness of a color or a tone. Value does all of the work, color gets all the credit. And the best way to describe that is if you take a photograph and you take all the color out and you got a black and white photograph, it still looks the same. You can still look at all of the detail and all of, you get a feel for what's going on. When you put the color back in, the only thing that's changed is how we interpret the colors of the scene. All of the drama and the tone and the shadows and the lightness and the brightness were always there. But that thin layer of color across the top that everybody notices first is marginal at best. It doesn't do anything. So now take that same color photograph and take a couple of colors from that. So the green of the trees and, the orange of the beach ball, or, whatever it may be the case. And now subtly shift those colors, not the tones, not the values of those colors, but the colors themselves. If you tonally shift those hues a little bit by 10 or 15 degrees, you know, to a colorblind person, that looks perfectly normal. And to anybody else looking at it, they might think, well, that looks a little bit odd, but I can still interpret the entire picture. It looks the same. It's just the trees are a little bit more yellowy than they were in the other photo, but it may not even look unusual, you know? And so that's why when people put the glasses on, they expect to see some sort of new, vibrant 3D interpretation of vision, and it's not the case. What they're seeing is a handful of colors within the point of view shifting subtly to where they're supposed to be. And it wasn't until I stopped trying to have that experience and thought about what was going on and maybe tried to interpret some colors or even learn some new colors, because things do look different. And I might look at something, an example being, I was at the looking at some flowers, and I was absolutely certain I was looking at a purple flower. And I said, that flower's purple. And my partner said, no, that's pink. And then it occurred to me, I don't actually know what purple looks like. I've got an idea of what purple looks like in my head, but it's not accurate. And so, you know, I feel like with a longer time with the glasses, I could learn, like a second grader, learn my colors the way that they're supposed to be. And my color accuracy is bad because I'm 43 years old, but I've never seen colors properly before, you know? So to sum it all up, the glasses definitely work. They definitely do what they're supposed to. I'm not going to say they work as advertised, because I feel like a lot of that viral video action that you see of people crying and having experiences is in some way an advertisement for Enchroma, even if it's unsanctioned. Or I'm sure they lean into it because I'm sure it sells glasses. Sadly, I only had the glasses for, you know, a day, and I really wish that I could have a good experience with them in the appropriate environment outside for 10 hours over the course of a week to really let my eyes adjust and to see things properly. But I feel like I got a good enough gist. Do I feel like I'll buy the glasses? I don't know. I'm still unsure. In Australia, they tend to be quite expensive, over the $500 mark to get them here. And there's not really, that I'm aware of, an easy way of returning them if I find that it's not the experience I wanted. And do I feel like it's worth it? I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I feel like as an artist, and someone who does a lot of, you know, creative stuff visually, I feel like in my case, I might be more inclined, now that I know the glasses work, to look more closely into indoor glasses. So they have two different types. There's outdoor, like sunglasses varieties, and there's also indoor varieties, which I'm led to believe aren't as profound a difference. But what I noticed is the sunglasses, there's a golden window throughout the day where they work beautifully, where the sun's high in the sky and the colors you're around are vibrant. But the second the sun comes down, it's a little bit of a flowers for Algernon thing, where you see the world as it is for a while, but then as the sun's setting, there's this desperation as it's slowly dragged away from you, because suddenly, you know, it stops working as effectively. And that's the same too. I mean, in twilight, if you ask somebody with normal sight what color something is, I'm sure that they're going to be confused and have trouble telling you, you know. But then, anyway, that's my experience. Would I consider buying them? I feel like for me personally, the price tag is a little too high for me to continue this experiment. But I just wanted people to know that, look, you may not have that experience that you've seen 100 times and everybody's linked you to because, you know, they know you're colorblind. But, you know, if you're the kind of person who works outside or spends a lot of time outside and can wear them for long periods of time, I have no doubt that they're going to help you even develop your non-Enchroma experience outside of the glasses. As there's been studies that show that they help long-term with people after they've taken the glasses off. And I can buy that, because a lot of the problems we have discerning colors isn't about what we're visually seeing. It's about the training our brain has had over years and years to find colors overly complex and difficult. So I find that if you spend time with them and you understand how color works, you're going to find that you have a better experience without the glasses, because a lot of the clutter that's been bouncing around in your head about not being able to differentiate colors, that's going to fade into the background and you're going to have more confidence. That's about all I can say at this point. If I do end up getting my hands on some inside glasses, I'll definitely do another review And I'd really love to see how they work with, you know, my graphic design and art and painting particularly, because that's one of those things where I'm always struggling with digital art. I know where the colors are on the color wheel, and even if I don't know what I'm clicking, I know theoretically what it is. Whereas with paint, it becomes a little bit more complicated, and it'd be nice to be able to look at a painting that I've done and know what it actually looks like. That'd be fantastic. So I'll continue this journey at some point, maybe not in the near future, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, be careful how you interpret things you see online. Definitely do your research. Watch more videos, and you know, videos that contrast what you are led to believe as well. You know, like what led me on this journey was I saw a guy had a video, was like, I spent 30 days wearing Enchroma glasses, and to be honest, his experience was largely similar to mine. So anyway, check it out. It's not snake oil, but it may not be the experience you were expecting. Give it some time, and I think you'll find that, you know, they'll impress you. So that's my review. Thanks, guys.